Artemi Panarin has apparently set a deadline of September 30th, which is the start of training camp, for himself and the Columbus Blue Jackets to come to a resolution on his contract. So we should know before the season starts what's happening with Artemi Panarin. Will he be traded? Will they come to an agreement on an extension? We'll discuss those options coming up next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We review and discuss all 31 NHL teams, so if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. So we have reports today indicating that Artemi Panarin's camp has set a deadline of September the 13th, which is the start of Blue Jackets training camp, for that situation between the Jackets and Panarin to be completely resolved. He basically says he refuses to discuss any business like that during the season. Once on-ice activities start with training camp, he wants to focus solely on his on-ice game and not talk business any further from that point forward. In case you're not familiar with the situation, here's a little bit of background on this story. Artemi Panarin is entering the final year of his contract with the Columbus Blue Jackets. Earlier this summer, the Blue Jackets organization wanted to enter into discussions to talk about a long-term contract extension to keep Panarin with their organization for many more years to come. Panarin and his agent then informed the Blue Jackets that they were not interested in discussing a contract extension at this time. Now that doesn't mean absolutely that he does not want to play there anymore and he wants to leave, but it looks as though that he kind of indicated he wasn't interested at that point in time. He wanted to think things over and decide more on his future, see where the team was going before he really made any kind of commitment to any team long-term moving forward here. Now, obviously, with this new deadline set in place of September 13th, I would fully suspect that contract extension talks are going to heat up, and if they're not going anywhere, so that we're likely going to see a trade. As we all know, we saw a massive free agent change teams this offseason, with John Tavares leaving the New York Islanders and signing with the Toronto Maple Leafs. John Tavares is the first free agent of that caliber that we've seen in a long time, end up going all the way to UFA status, right to July 1, and then changing teams. It's not that often now that we've had an opportunity to see that. A lot of these top-notch NHL players are usually locked up quickly by their existing clubs and don't usually make it to free agency, so it's kind of a rare thing. But has John Tavares maybe set a new pattern in place? Is there going to be maybe a new standard? It's been rumored that Panarin wanted to play in a different kind of market, like in a bigger market. There's been rumors that he wanted to play in a warmer climate, like near an ocean. So there was speculation about Tampa, about Florida, about the teams in California, like the Sharks, the Ducks, the LA Kings, etc. We really don't know if any of that is true or not. I mean, I've heard speculations about the Rangers. We've seen the most, out of all the trade rumors that have kind of been floating around, the one that's kind of made the most sense was the possibility of him returning to Chicago. Obviously, we've seen the Blackhawks make another trade to clear a bunch of cap space, and it's been speculated that their goal with doing that is to bring in another forward or possibly a top defenseman, as they really need some help on the back end as well as scoring up front. So the Blackhawks have yet to make another acquisition, and it's really unclear at this point in time if they're indeed really aggressively trying to do that, or they're kind of taking the wait-and-see approach and they really want to make that other deal just to give them flexibility should another deal like a Panarin trade or a different player like a Jeff Skinner, Justin Falk, something like that, actually come to be, that they can make it happen. So I would imagine with this new deadline set in place by Panarin that we're probably going to see the rumor mill kind of intensify around Panarin, possibly back to Chicago, if not other markets as well. I mean, I would think that the Columbus Blue Jackets should be smart enough that if they think that they're at high risk to lose this player, that they'll facilitate a trade to make sure they get something decent in return, rather than end up like the Islanders who lost John Tavares and get nothing in return. So we have other reports as well indicating that the Columbus Blue Jackets general manager has gone overseas during this offseason here to meet with Artemi Panarin as well to discuss things a lot further. The only indications we had out of those meetings was that they went well. They had some good talks, good discussions, but they don't really have anything progress made on a new contract. So it's still, even after all that, it still remains unclear here what the future holds for Artemi Panarin. Now, of course, the Columbus Blue Jackets is a team that have yet to win a playoff series. They've been in the league for quite a while now. They're trying to make some steps forward. They thought they were really going in the right direction when they acquired Panarin, who's obviously a superstar, their top offensive weapon on that team. And now they're in a position where they appear to be at risk to losing him or forced to trade him. So I guess I want to know what your thoughts are with this deadline being set in place. Do you think it's more likely now that we see a Panarin trade between now and the start of training camp, which is the deadline set by the Panarin camp? Or do you think that there is hope here that they can work out a contract extension? Personally, the way things look and based on all the reports that we've seen, I think a contract extension is probably very unlikely at this point. I'm not going to say it's completely unlikely and not going to happen, but at this point in time, I would say that the odds are slim that that gets accomplished before training camp. Now, if the Blue Jackets go into training camp without any progress being made with Panarin, being that they haven't traded him and they haven't signed him, then we know at that point he's basically said, I refuse to discuss the scenario any further until the end of the season, at which point he's going to be on his way to becoming a UFA, and pretty good chance that I think that he'd be out the door, is the way things are looking at least. But I want to know what you think as well. Do you think Panarin gets traded? And if so, where is the most likely destination? I'm sure there's a lot of Blackhawk fans who would love to see him come back to Chicago and work that magic with Patrick Kane once again. Those two were quite a dynamic duo. The only problem is with Chicago to make that acquisition is that it's going to be a hefty price tag, and there's going to be a lot of young players requested from the Blue Jackets that I know that the Blackhawks are likely not going to want to give up. Or the other option, if you're Chicago or another team trying to acquire Panarin, do you take your chances and wait and hope he becomes a UFA and then try to sign him that way so you don't have to give up a boatload of assets in order to acquire him? So I want to know your comments down below. Are we going to see a trade before the start of training camp, or do you think he's going to go into the season with no further progress, enter the final year of his contract, and likely go into next summer headlining the 2019 UFA class for NHL free agency? If you're new to the channel here, I hope you consider subscribing. We cover all 31 NHL teams, and there is plenty of content here for all hockey fans to enjoy. So if you're new, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button as well. I'd appreciate it if you did. As always, thank you very much for watching, everybody. We will catch you next time.
MusicSports.